there, welcome back to Japan, to World Tour Wednesdays, and to me recording on a camera phone in a hotel room for very many reasons, where today I am checking out Devin Townsend project with Higher Live Plovdid, apparently from a Blu-ray recording. As always, this is the review video. If you want to see the reaction that I just did before switching on this review recording, you'll have to pause this video, click the little link in the description below, which will open up a separate little player where you can watch the reaction if you want to see the song first of all, or if you just want to see me reacting to the song before listening to the review. Apologies, like I say, the quality of recording today is a little bit low as I don't have my proper microphone stuff here, but I thought even though I'm in Nagano City today, I won't stop working. I'll go back to that old school lo-fi quality just to bring you more reviews. So, this one was an interesting one. As I say, I'm about to give you the review, so if you want to hear the song or see my reaction before, pause this, and like I say, click that link in the description below. Here comes a review, don't say I didn't warn you. Alright. Okay, so as I was saying during the actual recording, this one is a difficult one to judge, and I'll repeat something I've said a few times before, but I have to say this because it's a lot of agency. When the first time you hear a song is as the live recording, to a fan who suggests that to you, and no discredit, it might be a good reason why this one was recommended instead of the actual recording, the studio recording, which I'm assuming there is. But the problem as a reviewer is you're left with this problem that you don't know how the live version differs from the original. And often the things that fans most like about a live version, they like because they can see them as being built upon the original. You can see them as going beyond the original as a contrast, whereas if you can't see those, sometimes those elements of excess look like misguided moves. And there are some things in this song which are amazing, and there are some things in it which feel excessively like an extravagance that could be the result of a live version. So as I was saying in the reaction, I really want you guys to listen to this review and give me contrasting comments, tell me what I might be false assuming or what I might be correctly assuming. Now the first thing that really took me is, as you know, I was saying throughout this, the atmosphere had this big orchestral thing which I really liked. When I noticed the orchestra and heard the orchestra starting to come in the background, I was like, yeah, I can really get into this. And I did love that sort of deep, dark orchestral quality to it. And it built throughout the song. And so I was hoping all the way through that you get a payoff at the end, and at the end you kind of did. It was very short, but I love that big choral payoff at the end. It was great in the way it went into a headbanging bit. The thing which really got me was the pacing. Now, for a song with such a beautiful, sort of thick, intense sound, and most notably atmosphere, the atmosphere was really just boiling up, you know, beautifully atmospheric. The pacing seemed really off to me. I don't think it needed to be 9 minutes. I suspect it was probably 9 minutes so as to play to the crowd, although I couldn't necessarily notice any bits that would have definitely seemed extended. There seemed to be lyrics going on throughout most of it. The problem was at the beginning, it started off very much building, but there were parts where it was kind of going round and it started doing some bits again that they'd already done, but they were bits that weren't particularly building up the tension. A lot of bits were very sort of slow, plodding, chord patterns, and the vocal melody was very slow and intense throughout. The problem with this is that the reason why this became, for me, the middle of the song became the bit which I could have skipped over, was that those bits of intense plodding like atmosphere, the problem is when everything is slow and plodding, it starts to lose the ability to feel like you're building up, especially when everything's playing loud at the same time. It's not like the timbre was increasing after like the first couple of minutes. Everything was at full volume then throughout, with exception to that one bit where they broke down just to the stabs, the guitar stabs. But that was later in the song. So there was this long period for the first sort of half of the song, perhaps a bit more. It started off really well, but there was that period in the middle where to me it just felt like it wasn't building up in volume in a way that, or it wasn't adding anything to the sound that made it sound like it was growing. It was repeating certain bits that it didn't feel like it needed to repeat, and the fact that everything was playing at a plodding tempo and there was nothing sort of building in between, like some little if you had like little pizzicato bits of string come in, or just some sort of something happening, some quick little bits just shuffling in the background just to give it a little bit more energy, that would have really helped. There were some things, but just nothing that really felt like it was building. Like I say, you can pick out like the keyboard work, but the keyboard work wasn't particularly prominent enough to really have that impact, especially considering it was playing a string sound that seemed to back up what was happening behind it anyway. Just nothing felt like it was really sort of building it up. And then we got towards the end, and it suddenly felt like it was working. In that we had that bit where it slowed down. Now, initially, I didn't like that bit where it slowed down. It just went to the guitar steps because I was like, oh, now the energy's all gone. It was just the energy's being sucked out of it. But then, in context, that made sense because that led you into it, building into the last bit and built up. And then you had that lovely choral bit. Now, like I say, that to me was the payoff. That was the thing which it resolved the tension of the song and gave you the big blast at the end, which is kind of what you're there for. It's your crescendo at the end. And so I felt that could have been a little bit more prolonged. I mean, it was like this one big, huge choral melody. It's like you could have at least gone around and done that a couple of times, considering all the stuff before it had been done multiple times over. Like, this bit is the payoff. This bit could be done a couple of times. Ending on the headbanging bit I thought was brilliant. I thought that was a good decision. I just felt that the crescendo had been built up long enough that it could be played for longer. So if you ask me, if you took all those bits at the beginning and didn't repeat any of them, just sort of went through them as a building thing, you probably knock the first half of the song down to about 3 minutes, then have that big crescendo, that big blasting crescendo, but play that around a couple of times because it's so glorious and so impactful. You get like a minute or so out of that, and then put the headbanging bit at the end. You could have probably done, in my opinion, you could have done all of this with a little bit more agency, a little bit more urgency in probably sub 5 minutes. So for me, the problem was massively pacing, because each individual bit, if you took each individual part of the song and just listened to it on its own, wonderful energy, wonderful, like I say, atmosphere, wonderful sort of brooding sense of something sort of dark but also glorious, sort of this, again, that's what pays off at the end, is that glorious choral sound. It had that feeling, and just to me it didn't feel at any point like it was well paced. But like I say, that could be completely down to the fact it's a live version, and when you do a live version, you can spend a lot longer building up to the end because of the fact that people know the end's coming, people know what the crescendo is going to be. I was interested by the fact that this was not in any way musically showy. Everything that was played was incredibly simple, and it was all about the arrangement, which really also appealed to me greatly as well. I like the fact that it felt orchestrated. It felt like something by people who wanted to make a big, powerful song rather than people who just wanted to twiddle, which is what you usually get in, like I say, long rock song versions of something. Yeah, like I say, this to me felt like a lot of potential that didn't quite click, and I can't help but know if it was because it was a live version. Also, I think that maybe something was lost in the fact that the recording sounded it was beautifully recorded, don't get me wrong, but it had all the trappings of a live recording in that the drums and the guitar were quite clear, but a lot of the orchestral stuff started to sound very watery in the middle, and it lost definition, which might well have been like I was saying about those bits where everything just felt slow. It might be because the definition was lost, so maybe I wasn't hearing as much of some of the detail in the strings in the background, and maybe if you hear them on the recording more precisely recorded, you can maybe pick up more detail, which would make it sound more thicker and fuller. So I don't know, that could be an element as well. So I say this as someone who basically, like I say, enjoys a lot of what's going on here. Maybe would benefit from hearing a recorded version where I can pick out the detail and really hear the glory of the arrangement. Because, like I said, I think this sounds to me more like an arrangement piece than anything. But I can't help but feel that even then, if the arrangement lengthwise is the same, I would still think that this could be a lot shorter and still work. So there you go. There's my opinions. Sorry about the big bright light behind me. Looking into eclipse, isn't it? Should I sit here, shouldn't I? Should have done that at the beginning of the video. Still doesn't work. Move the chair. There we go. So as always, these are my opinions, my thoughts, my feelings as someone who, I don't know nothing about the artist and I know nothing about this song, but I really want to know more now. So please, if you're a fan, tell me. If you don't know the song as well, what was your opinions? Did you think the same thing as me? Did you come away from the same thoughts and feelings from this one? It really does leave me interested to learn and hear more about what the story is behind this, and also what your opinions are as well. Obviously, music is an opinion thing. I've worked with music my entire adult life, as I keep on saying in these videos, but my opinion is no more relevant. It's just an opinion. Music is subjective and only as good as it sounds to the listener at the time. So please leave your comments, leave likes and subscribes as well if you don't mind, if you'd like to. Feel free to follow any of our other social medias, linked in the description below. Feel free to hang around if you want to hear us review more music on World Tour Wednesdays, as well as from all around Japan the rest of the time. And as always, a massive thank you to our Patreons who keep the channel alive as we're non-monetized. So until I see you hopefully soon for the next one of these here in Japan, for now, ciao ciao.